Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of TeeVo and The Beard.
I know you can't see it, but I'm TeeVo and that's The Beard.
Today we're going to kind of have a
potpourri.
Yeah. Ah! Nice. A little hodgepodge there of topics for today.
I'll mainly be talking because we went to the movies, and by we, I.
Yeah, TeeVo has seen everything now.
Generally worth seeing, I suppose.
Yeah. But on one bandwagon I do want to hop on for at least the first couple minutes here, though, is Pokemon Go.
Right.
I'm playing it. You're finally playing it. Some other people that we know are
Apparently
playing it.
a lot of people in the world are playing it.
A lot of people, like 10 or 12 people are playing it.
Yeah.
So, I'm Team Mystic.
Valor,
yeah. So, we're on opposing teams. If we played it as seriously as other people did.
Yeah.
We're very casual players. But how are you enjoying it for the most part?
I mean, it's fun. It's not like playing the old Game Boy games that I used to
I kind of wish it was.
I wish it was too. I think based on some of the updates and reading further along, it's going to be just a little more like it, but we'll never be that.
Right.
I mean, it's fun for what it is. It's free.
Right.
So
that was the big selling point for me, was the freeness.
It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah.
But, in all seriousness, it is fun to play. I enjoy it. I like the graphics of it for being on your phone and everything. I know you can do amazing things with your phone now, but, I mean, something like this is kind of cool.
To me, it feels like being in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they combine it with the Game Boy game, and this, we would have the exact show.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe they're getting close to it. I mean, the fact that they're already teasing the next generation of Pokemon, I mean, that's kind of cool. Because that was my thing always with the Game Boy games. As much as I love them, I hate that when you buy one game, you only get that generation of Pokemon.
Right.
And then you have to buy another one, but then you only get to play with that generation of Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then they keep buying more, and sometimes they, intermix certain things.
Right,
but
yeah.
you can never get... Because my thing was, I love the show. And I love the notion, it's like, well, if I have this Pokemon, then they're mine.
Right.
And, well, if I do cross to another territory, I can still take it with me, or, start over kind of fresh and do a new adventure, but I still have my Pokemon.
Right.
Didn't like that part about the game, because that concept just doesn't exist.
Yeah, you couldn't take your Charmander and just keep running with
and then
that same
go
one.
and then play Silver.
Right.
And then play Ruby. You don't keep that Charmander.
Right.
That Charmander has to stay in red. Or blue. Or yellow.
Mine was always red, which is weird that I picked Mystic, but it fit closer with Ravenclaw, but that's a whole nother episode right there.
We might get to that part and maybe when Fantastic Beasts comes out.
Yeah.
But what about you? Any other little tiny thoughts?
No.
Or big thoughts?
I'm just waiting for the update where you can actually play kind of like player-to-player sort of thing. 'Cause the gym mechanics, I think, are actually too simple. Because I'll go around campus here, and especially like on a Saturday or something where nobody else is on campus, and I'll go to a gym and I'll just click my screen until I'm...
But then again, I mean, there's only so many things you can do on the phone. But
right.
I agree, it's kind of like, maybe it could get... But then again, it's going to be like the game. And I kind of like it's interactive instead of just turn-based-ish.
Right.
Ish.
Yeah.
It's like I like it, but, not 100% in love with it.
Yeah, I've definitely not put any, actual money into
no. I don't think I ever will.
No.
Unless they're saying, I don't know, they have some kind of sale where I can for sure get a very strong Pokemon for less than $5.
Right.
Maybe we'll talk.
But I've heard other people around campus who are spending like $10, $20.
Yeah, that's great for the business of the game.
Right, yeah.
And they're probably the ones sustaining it to make updates and keep it going.
So thank you, all of you who are spending money on it.
Not making fun of you. I'm just saying, I'm not one of them.
Right. Well, we're not students here, so, spending mom and daddy's money sort of thing, Some of us had to actually
I spend my money on very frivolous things. I don't have enough in the frivolous things budget for Pokemon Go.
Yeah, it's like, do I buy the new Funko Pop, or do I put money in Pokemon Go? Funko Pop.
Yeah, exactly.
Priorities.
Exactly.
Oh, and speaking of spending money and all that, in a couple weekends, you're not going to be
I will not.
us. You'll be out of town. What's going on?
For those of you who do not know, and who are are actually listening to us, we are located on the side of the country where Dragon Con is, and we live about 4 hours away.
Yeah.
Dragon Con is a comic convention they have annually on Labor Day weekend in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's just really fun. You know,
how many times have you gone now?
I've been going yearly since 2012.
Okay.
And, you know, when I go to con, you know, I love the cosplay. I love the panels. I like seeing people.
Right.
But what I go for is meet the celebrities.
Right, yeah.
Because, well, I love TV shows. I love movies. I love actors in general. So you're telling me that I have to just pay a certain fee and I could go meet them?
Yeah.
For me,
it's kind of a win-win.
For me, you know, that's all I need to know. The first 2 years I did try the cosplay. I don't knock it, but you know, for those, but what most people don't understand is that it's almost a full-time thing.
Right.
You really have to dedicate, because I threw on a costume, and you know, and I wanted to experience everything.
Yeah. What is an example? What would you dress as?
I went as Kato from the Green Hornet both years, because that's my only nice costume I have.
And it's also something that's not... I've seen some of these cosplay things where it's like big and bulky. And all that.
But just in general, if you're wearing, you know, unless you are playing a character who wears shorts, it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
And speaking of the big bulky people, I was kind of wondering, how do you not die? and I learned something.
Okay.
They're there to do that and stand in like the atrium area, and that's it. That's their thing. You know, they might take a break and do other things, but the majority is hanging out with their fellow cosplayers. Me, I wanted to cosplay, but I also wanted to walk around, go to panels, see celebrities.
Right.
And unlike something like San Diego Comic-Con, where it's all in a giant room, like Dragon Con is located in downtown Atlanta, and it encompasses, you know, like a very good chunk of the downtown area.
Because they use like hotel rooms.
They use hotels.
Hotel ballrooms. And
they use, you know, 5 different hotels. There are things in there, each hotel you want to go to. And it's not like they're next door to each other. Granted, 3 of them are, but still, they're not small hotels.
Yeah.
They're kind of spaced apart.
It's not the Motel 6 or something
it is
like
not.
that.
I would be interested to see if they ever did acquire a Motel 6 and put something in there. I'd be like, I would like...
Some zealous celebrity.
I'll still see... I'm going to go.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I got really sweaty and kind of miserable.
Yeah.
And in many ways, because I was sweaty, I was hot. And when I went to meet celebrities, you know, they liked my costume. But I have a weird thing where I would like them to meet me and not a costume. They will probably remember me a little better if I was wearing a costume, but it's the risk I'm willing to take.
Well, I imagine there's not too many Katos running around.
No, and it's easier to, you know, to identify yourself. Hey, I was the guy dressed up as, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Instead of, hey, I was one of the many people you said hi to that day.
But from what I hear, you do make a name for yourself with the Lord of the Q&A, because you are the guy who sings theme songs with celebrities.
I do have a rapport with J. August Richards of Angel and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We'll get into that maybe the next time. Next week in our pre-Dragon Con episode.
Yeah, because we have Dragon Con coming up. We have shows are finally going to be starting. So you can actually hear us talk about substantial things and not, you know, whatever's on our mind.
And don't worry, I think we teased that we will talk a lot about Flash and S.H.I.E.L.D. That's all coming. There's little to go on right now, so, you know, we don't want to just sit here and probably say the exact same things you've heard already.
Yeah, I mean, S.H.I.E.L.D. has a new director, as in the character, not the, you know, director of the show.
Yes.
And we could speculate for the whole 45 minutes about that and not
I'd rather
come up with anything.
We do know it's Jason O'Mara. I like the actor, but, you know, we'll just wait till they reveal it, and then we'll tell our feelings on it.
Yeah, because they are really good at keeping secrets over there.
They are, and, you know, it's not like when they finally tell us the character, they're going to tell us everything.
Right.
There will still be speculations.
But
at
they
least
kept secrets about Lash, about Hive, about, you know, well-known
Deathlock,
characters.
Quake.
Yeah.
I mean, Quake was in front of our eyes for like season and a half.
Yeah, basically.
But,
yeah.
you know, hey, kudos to them. Same with the Flash. I mean, they spilled some more things as opposed to S.H.I.E.L.D., but...
Yeah. Well, Flash, you know, is a more familiar comic character.
Yeah.
So,
But, you know, we could sit here for 45 minutes and talk about what we think is going to happen, or we can at least kind of get to that point and we can at least get a head start.
Yeah. In the next few weeks, you'll hear our thoughts about how the season's ended and all that, and what we might
because
hope to
Shield's
see.
not coming back till the 20th.
Right.
Or something of September, and Flash is not coming back till October.
Yeah, everything else is October.
So we have plenty of time to think and say our thoughts.
Right.
But in the meantime, in lieu of shows, I'm here to bring you movies.
Yeah, we'll turn off the TV and go to the movies.
Yes, well, I'm a big fan of the movies. So it's just, that childhood experience that kind of still holds true, for me at least. It's expensive, I know, but luckily there are very cheap matinee hours, because otherwise I do not go.
It's not, I still think that the movie experience is worth it compared to watching it at home. And it doesn't always have to be Suicide Squad or Star Trek or something like that.
There are always certain movies that, can wait, as opposed to some that just cannot wait.
Right.
But yeah, I agree.
So what have you seen besides Suicide Squad?
Speaking of those movies, well, kind of a bevy of movies that should be seen in theaters and movies that probably shouldn't be, but I did anyway because I love going. And
now, do we need to give a spoiler warning for people here?
Sure.
Just listen at your own risk.
Sure. I mean, these aren't like kind of high-priced movie spoilers or so.
Okay.
But I went to see Jason Bourne. Mm-hmm. And for those listening, it's the fourth Bourne movie with Matt Damon. 5th overall. You want to hear my thoughts? I liked it. I would probably buy it.
Okay.
But it was so unnecessary.
So it's not one that's going to bring in new fans?
Well, here's the thing. The first 3 is a really good movie trilogy.
Okay.
One of the better ones in, the last 15 years or so. Mm-hmm. That being said... they tried to reboot the series with Jeremy Renner to put it in the same world, same concept, some of the same characters, just minus Matt Damon.
Yeah.
It was good, but again, it was like, this wasn't necessary.
Right.
It was fun, but not necessary. Mm-hmm. So when they said, oh man, we're bringing it back, and we're bringing it back with Matt Damon. So naturally, the fans of the series was like, okay, I really want to see it. Well, I saw it, I was like, man, that was really cool. Mm-hmm. But it still was unnecessary.
Okay.
Like, the only thing it really answers was, hey, you remember when you thought Bourne was dead at the end of 3? Well, he's not. And if you want to know what he's been up to, because it was hinted that he wasn't dead. Okay. Actually, they flat out said he wasn't dead at 3, but, he just disappeared. And it was just a good ending for, what the 3 movies have been doing. This one's like, well, if you want to see what he's been up to,
here you go.
Here you go.
Yeah.
So, yay, we'll get it, but,
Well, for those of us that aren't too familiar with the Bourne trilogy or any of the Bourne stuff, I know it's an action movie.
Yes.
Is it on the same vein as, like, and I know it's an American movie, obviously, is it on the same vein, though, as, like, something like James Bond or something like that?
It's funny, it's always that new kind of thing they like pit against each other. Bond versus Bourne.
Right. James Bond, Jason Bourne.
Yeah. It's not like a Bond movie. It's a more intellectual.
Okay.
And not saying Bond movies are stupid, but it's.
I've seen plenty of Bond movies, and you don't have to put a lot of thought into them.
But it's you definitely have to pay attention to these movies.
Okay.
So that's the only thing I can really say. These movies are. As thrilling as they are, you have to actually watch them.
Okay.
You can't just kind of have it in the background unless you've seen it a million times.
Right. So it's not like The Expendables or something like that.
No.
Okay.
So that was good.
Okay.
And then the next week I went to see Sausage Party.
That great children's movie, right?
Okay.
I've seen the posters. It looks great.
It looks like a kid's movie.
Yeah.
There's some songs in it.
Okay.
But it's not a kid's movie.
Because whose movie is that?
It's Seth Rogen. Right. For me, I love Seth Rogen.
Mm-hmm.
I like his humor. I get his humor.
Yeah.
I know what to expect when I see a Seth Rogen movie. So I know when This Is the End came out, a lot of people were not expecting that.
Right.
For good reason, and some maybe you're just easily offended reasons.
Yeah, I just didn't care for that as a movie. Yeah. I wasn't offended by it. I love the very end of it.
Yeah.
Which I won't spoil for anybody because just I'm sure it's on YouTube or something like that. That was an awesome...
I think I saw it on YouTube, so it's definitely on YouTube.
That was an awesome ending to it, but I just didn't care for it as a film. But that's the only thing of his that I don't really like.
But, yeah, going with that, but I just kind of... I don't know, I think some people just don't expect that kind of humor. Mm-hmm. So, watching Sausage Party, I was like, I know exactly where he's probably going to go. Yeah. And Seth Rogen, by God, sometimes still surprises me, like he did with this one. I was like, I know, I shouldn't be surprised you're going
Did it turn out to be a romantic movie?
I knew it was going to be that, because there was a lot of, posters with the hot dog and the bun. Yeah.
Just do a Google image search, people, and
you know what? Look at this. It's a very rated R animation movie. Yeah, and it's very rated R, not like the subtle kind. It's like in your face, and those were some of the parts that that made me go, I shouldn't be surprised at this, but I kind of am in a good way. Like Edward Norton plays a bagel, and I think David Krumholtz plays like a pita bread. And, nice. And they have tension because one's obviously Jewish and the other's Middle Eastern, and they have tension because they share the same aisle. Nice. The German sauces were Nazis. The soy sauces were like really stereotypical Asian. Like it's just.
So he wanted to see how far he could go with the stereotypes.
And the ending is just like if you ever want to see food do a certain act that you think only humans do.
Well, that does not narrow it down, but I can use my imagination.
Well, believe me, it will never make you go, well, I wonder what that looks like. He showed you.
Does it make you swear off food for a while after that?
No, not at all. Even the parts that they're being hideously murdered.
Nice.
But to us, eaten. Right. You're like, man, I could really go for some food.
So is this in the same thing as like Toy Story where it exists in the real world?
Yeah. Okay. It's the concept of Toy Story, but with food. Right. And more cruder. Yeah. Though I would love to see a Toy Story version of this. Yeah. But yeah.
Pixar, get on it.
But it was a very funny movie. Mm-hmm. It's short, so like animated movies. They're short and sweet. Mm-hmm. Well, this was short. Not sweet.
What, there's no sweets in it? Yeah, there's no candy or anything?
Actually, I think there was some dessert.
Okay,
items.
so let's see.
So, yeah, so it was funny because someone, before I went to see it, said, hey, let me know how it is. Mm-hmm. And after the movie, I knew I liked it. Right. But I couldn't figure out how to recommend it to somebody. Right. Because unless you just really like Seth Rogen humor... Mm-hmm. I can't say, oh, you should see this movie.
Yeah, it definitely sounds good. Is this one that's going to end up on your DVD shelf?
Oh, yeah. Okay. But I have a very extensive one. But I'm trying to cut back on certain ones that are like, do I need this? Or would a digital copy suffice?
Right, so this might be one that you don't pop to Best Buy on the day that it's dropped.
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be one I probably will have. Mm-hmm. Maybe not immediately.
Maybe when it goes on sale or something like that.
Not like a Black Friday sale. It doesn't have to be dirt cheap. Okay. Maybe if it's like, one of the, hey, we got a lot of stock, we need to get rid of some of them. All right, take out $5-7 on them. Yeah, something like that. And this past weekend, I went to see War Dogs. Okay. With Miles Teller and Jonah Hill.
Okay, now that one I know the least about it.
It is based on a true story about these two 20-some-odd-year-olds who landed a Pentagon contract, and they're arms dealers. Okay. I knew about it because, when you hear us talk, I'm a fan of a lot of people. Yeah. So, I think that's why I see a lot of things. Like, I end up being a fan of a lot of people, so naturally I want to see their work. But anyway, getting back to it, I'm a fan of Jonah Hill. Right. Who was also in Sausage Party, so I went to see 2 Jonah Hill movies.
You just fill in his pocket.
Exactly. Yeah. It's got Jonah Hill and Miles Teller, and it was directed by Todd Phillips. You may know him. He did the Hangover trilogy, Old School, Road Trip. Mm-hmm. This one I really appreciated because it was not a comedy. Okay. I was about to
say, the description doesn't really fit the other stuff that you're saying.
They kind of bill it sort of as like the serious type comedy, mainly because, Jonah Hill and all that stuff. But it was the closest thing to Todd Phillips doing something not dramatic, but just not like, you know,
It wasn't
what he's
slapstick.
what he's normally known for, and I really responded well to that.
Okay.
Good performances, I mean, and good work from him. I think I saw in the credits he was part of the writers. Well, just, you know, it kind of surprised me because I didn't think he had that kind of thing in him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a good movie.
Okay.
Jonah Hill kind of plays a little another version of his Wolf of Wall Street character,
Right?
The unlikable guy, but you know he's one of the main characters regardless. And if you look it up, I looked it up a little bit after that. Wow, it really was based on a true story.
All right, now see that I'm always suspicious about that. I think there needs to be, like, you have a rating for the movie itself, and then there should be like a percentage rating for based on a true story. Like, okay, it's 10% based on it.
Yeah, I think I looked at what the big part of the movie was about, and that did happen.
Okay.
The way it did. Spoiler. So the big thing that probably why this movie was made, and probably why these people are infamous, so to say. So they landed a Pentagon contract to sell the Pentagon 100 million rounds of AK-47 rounds.
Okay.
Well, and the only reason they were able to do that because they did a backdoor deal and found like a large, unaccounted for stockpile. So they were going to get it really cheap and then sell it to the government.
Okay.
Well, what happened was they found it in Albania. So I thought, oh, well, the Albanians took it from the Russians. No, it's from the Chinese. And I learned in the movie that we cannot take that, at least that kind of Chinese goods. So what they did was they took it out of the box, they put it in Ziploc bags, and put it in cardboard boxes.
And that's part of the real story?
Yes.
There?
And needless to say, they got in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Which is probably why they're known.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I think if you're a fan of Todd Phillips movies, and just kind of, I would say War Dog is one of those movies I didn't have to see in theaters, but I'm glad I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like, though, if you're a fan of his work, be prepared for something a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't sound like The Hangover or anything like that.
Nothing slapsticky happens. Nothing, like, overtly crazy happens. Like, this was a crazy event.
Right.
To think that, wow, we really paid these guys? And we were making probably a lot more deals like that. But, you know, it's not like getting found a baby and losing your best friend on a wedding day.
Right, yeah. Which, who knows, could have been based on a true story.
It could have. Yeah. It probably since the movie came out, it's become true stories.
Yeah. So is War Dogs going to be on your shelf?
I think so. I would probably buy all these movies. I hope they don't make another Jason Bourne movie. Only because, well, my main reason I say that is because, so I used to have the Bourne movies, all four, even the non-Matt Damon one.
Yeah.
But then I heard this one was coming out, and like a completist, I was like, they're probably going to make like a box set. And I want that box set. So I had to sell the other ones to Movie Stop for, pennies.
R.I.P.
For pennies.
Yeah.
And then hopefully wait, and keep looking on Amazon and Blu-ray.com thinking, come on, if you don't make that pack, I'm going to be really upset.
You need the Bourne saga.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they better do that. But I have actually a closing icebreaker.
Okay.
We're not opening with one, we're closing with it.
Well, I wanted to ask you something about the movies first.
Yeah.
Because there was one thing that I watched. It's not a movie, but it's kind of, I'm going to segue with your stuff.
Yeah.
So when you watch these
My icebreaker
movies,
was about movies, so
okay.
It's still related.
Not that our icebreakers ever have to go. So when you saw these three movies, did you see any good trailers?
I would say the internet has ruined trailers and movies.
Okay.
I know why they play them. I still like to watch them, but I remember as a kid, you saw trailers at the movies.
Right.
There was nowhere else. You maybe got TV versions of the trailers based on whatever you were watching, but they weren't, as constant. Now with the internet, they drop. You instantly.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you see them instantly. So most of the trailers I saw in these 3 movies, already seen them.
Okay.
I honestly couldn't tell you ones that stood out, though.
Oh, wow.
Just because either I've seen them a million times, or they were just not movies I'd want to see anyway.
Because I was kind of curious on what kind of previews you put before Sausage Party.
Because
normally like a Disney or Pixar movie, you have Disney or Pixar.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I think the only one that stood out for me, only because I didn't care to watch it when it dropped. So it was a new trailer to me. It was Oliver Stone's Snowden movie.
Oh, that seems like a very weird thing.
Hey, we gotta sell a movie. A movie. And they're like, well, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's done a couple movies with Seth Rogen, so it kind of relates.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, that was the only one I didn't recognize off the top of my head, because when it came out, I was like, I don't think I'm going to see it.
Yeah,
so
I can pass on that
I'm not really going to watch the trailer until it was shown in front of me. This week, I don't really remember. It really does kind of blur by.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, especially when you're seeing them on YouTube and all that, which is where I saw the one that I'm excited about for the end of this year, and that's Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah. They finally dropped the second trailer of that.
Yep.
And I love the fact that...
But you knew instantly.
Yeah.
You know? There was not the notion... Even as we got further into it, you know, more press was going into, this trailer will be shown in this movie, so make sure you go watch this movie. For about probably a year or two, people really were going to the movie to see the trailer.
Yeah.
Now
then it got to be like with it wasn't Beyond, I think it was Into Darkness, where there was a movie that was showing like the first 10 minutes of Into Darkness just to get you to show up before the actual movie starts.
Yeah, so
but how's your fandom with the Star Wars universe?
You know, I'd say in a scale of not knowing and becoming a fully fledged Jedi online, I'd say about a medium. I like it.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to Rogue One?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love so far that we haven't seen any lightsabers in the previews.
But I think that's, you know, I hope people get that concept.
Right.
You know?
Well, people are having a hard time getting the concept of where it belongs in the...
To which I was like, it's in the middle.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious.
Well, you know, I will say the first Rogue One trailer didn't do anything for me. Not in the sense like it didn't make me not want to see it, just I already wanted to see it.
Right, yeah.
It really didn't make me go, oh my god, I need to see this. But the second one.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt there.
That one I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Now I want to see it more.
Yeah, because when I saw the first one, it was like just reminding me that it exists, that it's going to happen.
And it's cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it didn't make me go, oh my god.
I was like, oh, there's a Death Star plans, there's Mol Mothra, there's...
This one, however, yeah. And, you know, stuff like Star Wars can get away with showing you things. Like, spoiler, but it's a trailer. I mean, by God.
Yeah, just pause this, open up a new tab, go watch it, and come back.
If you're that worried. It showed that just 1 second clip of Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And... that's okay. Star Wars is that kind of thing, is that kind of fandom where that's okay to reveal that card.
Yeah.
Superhero movies, you can't do that.
Well, especially when the Darth Vader card is, 40 years old now? So,
yeah. But superhero movies, you know, like I thought back to the Batman vs. Superman trailers, where they kind of did what Rogue One did and showed what we wanted to see. Yeah. However...
and then kept going.
You still should have kept some air of mystery. Like, I feel like, yeah, we know Darth Vader's in it now. We know a lot more, but, you know, we still got to see it to know everything. And,
right.
Come on.
Yeah, we still have to tie the pieces together.
What's wrong with having a mystery?
Right. Yeah. Which is, you know, what the Justice League preview is kind of doing. It's giving us a lot of information, but not too much. It kind of knows when to stop.
Yeah, I hope they... Yeah.
So far.
Well, I hope they do.
So far.
I hope they do stop.
Yeah.
Then again, it's a year out, and a lot happened from the first trailer of Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
To the release, so...
But we know that Barry Allen is a Rick and Morty fan.
Yes.
So, and that's... as long as that stays true, I think we're all good for the movie.
Yes.
So what's your reverse icebreaker here?
My reverse icebreaker?
Your ice freezer.
So we have talked about movies here. We talk about movies a lot. For those who actually listen, you already know that. But we always talk about a certain kind of movie. And my question to you is, what what genre of film do you like other than the types we talk about?
Horror.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's an easy.
Yeah.
All right, in the show.
Well, I say that because...
but I'm using the giant umbrella of horror when I say that, because I'm not sure I could specify, like, do I prefer comedic horror? Do I prefer slasher?
Right.
That'd be very hard
to
narrow down.
I asked that because I was, a lot of people think, all I watch are comic book movies and all that stuff. Like, no, I really do watch a vast genre of movies.
Yeah, as do I, yeah.
And one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is, like, I look at the Oscar race kind of like most people look at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Leading to the Oscars, I have certain websites that predict who's going to get a nomination based on percentages and what events happen.
Do you do the Hollywood Stock Exchange? The HSX?
I don't know.
Oh, you're not familiar with that?
No.
Yeah.
But
we're not going to go into all that right now. I used to play around with that, though.
But nonetheless, like, I'm really interested in that. And I make a point to at least try to see every movie that's going to be nominated for an Oscar.
Okay.
And, they're all dramas and indie movies, movies that they want to make you believe will stand the test of time. Most of them don't.
Right.
But I love them nonetheless. I love my main peak movie seasons are the summer. That's when we get the awesome blockbusters, the funny comedies. And then from September on to January, it's my Oscar season. So we're heading into that.
Okay.
And
no, but Oscar's not a genre, and you asked,
So in that, I would say, like, dramas.
Okay.
That
a lot of people surprise me.
A lot of people don't associate me with dramas. But I very much like them.
I would have thought comedies.
Well, I don't know. I feel like that's an easy one.
Yeah.
It's an easy one for me. If it's not like comic book movies, it's comedies, and then it's dramas.
Now, see, I would have, not to give you a big head, I would have thought more in the intellectual comedies, not like scatological humor sort of things.
Hey.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, we both watch both.
Yeah.
All of that.
Hey, there are some supposedly intellectual comedies that I don't like, and there are some very stupid ones that.
Oh yeah, I mean, a stupid comedy is always. I mean, me and the missus just watched Hot Tub Time Machine 2 the other day, and I was like, that was like a genuinely good dumb comedy.
But you need those.
Yeah,
I think that's why I like watching movies, or just in general, the moving pictures of movie and TV. It's that escape, and you get so many escapes. That's. It's different than, like, I think I was talking to someone who was, like, talking about art in general, but they were leaning towards more, like, drawings and paintings.
Right.
And I'm like, I like movies.
And movies and television are art.
They very much are art, and that's the ones I respond to.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand that, and I love that we live in an age now where you don't have to pigeonhole yourself to a certain genre. With Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, all that, you can try out whatever you want.
Yeah.
And some things you'll love, some things you'll hate.
So yeah, dramas for me would surprisingly, like, there are very few people I do my little Oscar stuff with. Most of the time I'm in movies by myself, but that's okay. I'm there to escape. I mean, it's the ever classic. If you want to join me, I have no problems with that, but I know that
buy yourself a ticket and come on.
Yeah, but I know the vast majority of people I watch movies with don't want to watch these movies, and I'm not that person that's afraid to go by myself.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen plenty of movies by myself. And
in fact, sometimes I prefer to see movies by myself.
Yeah, I mean, there are some things to kind of go with the horror genre.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows me knows I love B movies.
Yeah.
So when Eight-Legged Freaks came out years ago, I got off work and I went to go see it by myself. Didn't invite anybody. I was like, I know I'm going to enjoy this 100% more watching it by myself than having somebody over my shoulder going, "Oh, this is dumb. I know it's dumb. That's why I came to see it."
Same thing with me. With, like, oh, this movie's depressing. I know. Did you not read the synopsis?
Yeah. 12 Years a Slave is not a comedy.
Or not a feel-good.
Yeah.
I'm not here to feel good. I'm here to watch this.
Yeah, because you can escape. People think escaping into movies means laughing or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it can mean all sorts of things. It
can mean a lot of things. I'm sure with you, slasher films, it's an escape.
It is, yeah.
Which, ironically, you're escaping to watch it, while the people in the movie are escaping to get away from it.
It's a little meta escaping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess same when we watching 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah. Ooh.
But, you know.
Yeah.
But that it was more of a just wondering what other things do you... And I wanted our listeners to hear that we don't just sit around and watch comic book movies.
Right.
Granted, when they come out, you got my attention.
Yeah, and there's always you can break apart, I think, a lot of these comic book movies more than you can break apart horror and a lot of drama also, because normally drama and horror, they have the point that they're trying to...
They have a finite set of rules they
right.
can do.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe in the 90s, comic book movies were kind of like that they have to do very certain things, but now you're getting better actors to play heroes and villains. You're getting better filmmakers. You're getting more people to invest in them as opposed to just like, oh, we're Warner Bros. And we own Batman, so we probably technically should pay for it.
Right.
Now they get like loads of people to drop money on these things. Boom.
So they can concentrate on things like character development and stuff like that. Before they, like with the first Batman, not the 1966 one, but the Tim Burton one, they just kind of dropped Batman on you.
Yeah, which was fine for the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, movies like that stand the test of time if you, you know, always make sure, okay, well, you know, when was this movie made?
Right.
You know, would it work now? Probably not the same effect.
So that's why Batman Begin works better now than it would have back then.
Yeah. Oh my God! What? He doesn't become Batman until like
I'm out of here.
Whereas Tim Burton was like Batman. First scene, he was already Batman,
right?
And then they worked backwards. Whereas Nolan went present and then backwards, then present and backwards.
And I love the way he did it.
Oh yeah, he changed everything, and now with Zack Snyder and the DC Extended Universe, still I don't think they're still sure what they're doing, but you know.
Yeah, they're putting it together.
I really hope so.
But speaking of comic book movies, are you going to be looking forward to the new Spider-Man?
Oh, of course. Of course. I
hope they finally give us the origin story.
I have personal attachment to the new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
So we're you know, I love that the biggest press of the upcoming Marvel movies is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You get Doctor Strange and Guardians 2 and Thor Ragnarok kind of coasting on the shadows, but that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
When they hit,
they're going to hit.
They're going to...
Especially Doctor Strange.
Oh, man.
Out of all... As far as the Marvel Universe is concerned, comic movies, all that, Thor is my favorite character, but I am more excited about Doctor Strange than Ragnarok.
That's the beauty of it. I'm excited for all of it.
Yeah.
And they're all going to be amazing to watch.
They are, yeah.
Like
and those are definitely in-theater movies.
Oh, yeah. I think I've come to a point where if it's like a blockbuster, specifically Marvel movies, there's no question anymore. Yeah. Now it's like, do I have the time and do I have the money? Sure, I'll see some of these movies.
Yeah.
Marvel's like, no, we're just there.
You just you go to the bank, take out a loan.
And it's not, and you know, it's come to where Marvel movies aren't even... Well, you know, I'm going to go to really cheap hour.
Yeah.
No, it's like, I'm just going to go see it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what.
Take my $400 for the one ticket and one small popcorn. And
You know, I was listening to Kevin Smith when he said he saw Civil War. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's like these like 4D movie experiences where like the chairs move and like there's like a fan and like certain things that emit the smell of the scene.
Must be a West Coast thing.
He said, like, there's only 3 in the United States.
Okay.
You know, quoting. Probably badly quoting, but...
Yeah.
But he said, like, the ticket's like $40.
Wow.
But it's probably worth it.
Yeah, especially for a movie like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we could get one somewhere near here.
Yeah, that would have been a cool Star Trek Beyond.
Oh, yeah.
When they're out in space, they actually suck out the air from the theater. You feel like you're floating out there.
I'm gonna die. But he said, like, for Civil War, yeah, my movies, I hope they never show them.
No. We do not need to see Clerks in 4D.
I was like, he was like, well, probably not the best idea. But,
this smells just like a convenience store
but
in here.
Nonetheless, that notion of like, just take my money, take all my money.
Yeah.
If they had that somewhere near where we are,
Yeah, I'd cross state lines for that.
Man, like take my money for that
Yeah.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get one for Infinity War, my God.
Oh yeah, I mean there'd be a line from here to wherever the theater is.
You know, and I think they should because I don't know if people are aware they're about to start pre-production for Infinity War, and they're shooting in Atlanta.
Yeah,
man,
Atlanta is becoming huge for Marvel.
They should just donate a 4D, 4K X,
whatever
they call it, that type in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, it should be like, well, it's the least you guys can do.
Yeah, and I mean, $50, $60, sure. That's take
that one.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's kind of like you see, and I know I'm probably offending so many people right now, but you see, you know, concerts and, you know, musicals or plays in theaters, and, you know, they're not cheap.
Right.
And I know why. You know,
look at Hamilton tickets; they're thousands of dollars.
There's a lot of, you know, work that goes into a live production.
Mm-hmm.
Why is, you know, if
there's a lot of work that goes into movies.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into movies, especially if they're going to up the ante and do that kind of experience for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Yeah, and don't get us wrong, people. We are both very much.
We have musical theater background.
Yeah.
We have theater background. That's why I said I know I'm offending.
Yeah, we're not dissing theater at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But
we're not going to see Infinity Wars on a stage.
Yeah.
So
unless, oh my God, if they did,
Marvel the musical.
Oh. I know there's a Marvel live show, but my God, if they did do the Marvel musical,
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie,
I want to be in it. I'm not going to see it. I'm going to be in it.
I want to be at least near it.
Yeah,
I probably will spend that $1,000 to see Marvel Infinity War, the musical.
As long as it's not directed by the same person who did the Spider-Man musical, so everybody can survive at least.
Yeah, I heard about that, but you know,
yeah.
Well, you know what? Hey, I didn't see it. I can't trash it. If I didn't see it. You know,
just going by the injuries that have happened.
It's one of those things I try to live upon. You know, my codes. Can't trash it if I don't know too much about it.
Right.
Especially if I haven't seen it. So, Spider-Man the musical, you're still aces to me.
If you're I don't even know if it's still.
I don't think it's on, but if there's if they ever release like a DVD version of it, I'll watch it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So, any other closing thoughts, or
not this time around?
No.
But join us next week, and I'll go.
Well, we'll be talking about stuff.
Yes,
and things.
Particularly, it's the week before I go to Dragon Con, so if you want to know more about Dragon Con, a little better than I did this week, because I was not prepared for that.
No, I kind of dropped that on you there, so you can bring the list of people you're going to go see, and
yes, that's right.
That. Yeah,
there you go.
So,
till next week.
All right, see you later. Bye.
How much was that?